So keen viewers of the channel will be aware that I recently began watching IMSA for the first time. Many of you were surprised that I haven't watched it prior, especially given my love for IndyCar and just America in general. I hate to say it, but it really isn't that popular in the UK, with the FIA World Endurance Championship generally stealing the spotlight. Therefore, I made it #1 priority to watch the IMSA 24 Hours of Daytona, mainly due to the impressively large number of IndyCar drivers taking part, but also because I like fast cars and fierce competition. And needless to say, I really wasn't disappointed. Therefore, today I want to do a beginner's guide to IMSA, in order to try and get more of you into the sport, or just to provide entertainment for those of you who already watch the sport, who enjoy seeing new people get involved. It is totally free to watch on IMSA TV, making it accessible for pretty much anyone. Therefore, without any more hesitation, welcome to the beginner's guide of IMSA in 2024, presented by a beginner. The IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship isn't your ordinary racing series. It's like a 200 mph relay race with 2 different types of car divided into 4 classes. There are prototype cars split into the GTP and the LMP2 category, and GT cars split into GTD Pro and GTD, which stands for Grand Touring Daytona. This sounds confusing, but stick with me, I'm going to explain car classes in just a second. The race format changes to enhance the quality of racing on any given track. The longest race is the 24 Hours of Daytona, which took place last weekend. Check out my After the Flag race review to catch up on everything that happened, condensed into a brief video. The shortest races are around Long Beach and Detroit, with a duration of just 1 hour and 40 minutes, with Long Beach featuring just GTP and GTD classes, and Detroit featuring GTP and GTD Pro. The usual duration for an IMSA race is 2 hours and 40 minutes, with exceptions such as the 10 hours of Atlanta, otherwise known as the Petit Le Mans, and the 12 hours of Sebring, which is coming up on the 16th of March. The endurance racing is the staple of the series, prioritizing longevity and reliability over raw pace. This makes the series stand out significantly from other motorsports, since it provides a completely different experience for spectators, trackside or even at home. I watched all but 10 minutes of the Rolex 24. I was going to say last weekend, but it was pretty much 2 weekends ago by the time this video is coming out, and I must say I wasn't bored at any point. The race was incredibly exciting. Despite what non-IMSA fans may assume, the battle for first in each category remained exciting throughout the race, and boiled down to less than a second in the final half hour in the GTP class. There were also exciting battles throughout the field that kept our attention throughout the duration of the race. Like genuinely, you could tune in at any point and something exciting would be brewing. Not to mention the fact that a full course caution brings the field back together again, and can provide second chances for those who had misfortunes prior. So anyway, here's a brief overview of the classes in IMSA, and what differentiates them from each other on track. So first up we've got GTP. The GTP cars are generally the primary focus of the IMSA Championship, being the most technologically impressive cars in the field. Introduced in 2023, just last year, the GT prototype cars have an immensely impressive hybrid system, knocking the previous DPI class off its pedestal, with the Porsche 963 GTP hitting speeds of up to 205 mph. The class has 5 manufacturers, being Cadillac, Porsche, Acura, BMW and Lamborghini, who will be displaying some fierce competitions between the brands who pioneered this technology, although it might be worth mentioning that Lamborghini won't be at all the rounds, unfortunately. Not to mention the fantastic appearance that these cars have. In order to compete in GTP, the car manufacturer must produce over 2,500 cars a year, all around the world. A minimum of 3 drivers is required for the 24-hour race, with a maximum of 4, just so that teams don't take the mick. For races over 10 hours, teams must have 3 drivers, and for 6-hour races and below, 2 drivers are required within each team. GTP cars are very easily identifiable on track because of their striking looks, but also due to the black number panels on every single GTP car. Next up we have LMP2, which is the second prototype class on the list. The majority of LMP2 cars are built by Oreca, with an Oreca 07 chassis. However, there is one Ligier JD P217 chassis on the field, used by Sean Creech Motorsport. The driver combination rules are a little bit more complicated in LMP2, but I'll try and and summarize it as simply as possible. Basically, the LMP2 class is a Pro-Am category, which means they need drivers with bronze, accreditation, silver, gold, and platinum. But here's how. So bronze drivers are drivers who obtain their race license after the age of 30. Gold drivers are drivers with significant motorsport experience, and platinum drivers are professional racing drivers. For the Daytona 24 Hours, for instance, 4 drivers are required within each team, with a bronze driver being mandatory in the lineup. There is also a limit on just 2 gold drivers, or no more than 1 gold and 1 platinum, in order to provide opportunities for the drivers who aren't quite as fortunate as others. A bronze driver is compulsory in each type of event in the series, with strict rules always being applied to the number of gold and platinum drivers that a team can have. The LMP2 cars are also easily identifiable on track, especially if you know what an LMP2 car looks like. I mean, obviously. The LMP2 cars will generally have blue accents on their number plates, rear wing, mirrors, etc. And next we have the GTD and GTD Pro categories. These are the 2 GT categories, which both use GT3 specifications, concordant with FIA regulations. The difference between the 2 classes is self-explanatory. The classes are effectively the same, with GTD Pro requiring professional racing drivers. GTD Pro cars have red number panels, and GTD cars have green ones. The sheer selection of manufacturers within this category is incredible, with Porsche, BMW, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren, Acura, Aston Martin, Lexus, and Chevrolet, all providing cars within the series. Not only do the cars always look fantastic, they also sound fantastic, making IMSA an ideal way for fans of GT racing to witness their favourite sport. The TV coverage doesn't fail to keep the viewers up to date with the coverage on the GT cars too, making sure that every class's battle for P1 is covered. The speed difference between the GTD class and the GTP classes is substantial, spicing up the racing in even more ways. GTP cars lap their GTD counterparts roughly every 8 to 9 laps at the 24 Hours of Daytona, adding traffic into the battle for first in the GTP class. This can make or break the battle for the lead, which we did see this year. We saw Tom Blomqvist trying to advance on the Penske of Felipe Nasr in the final half hour of the race, although Blomqvist would be held up behind traffic just as the gap got close towards the end of the race, which ultimately became a deciding factor for the win. Next, we're going to discuss the tracks. IMSA visits 11 famous tracks all around North America. The season starts at Daytona in Florida for the largest event of the year. Next, the field will visit Sebring, where endurance racing was effectively born, for a 12-hour race in March. Next will come a series of shorter races around Long Beach, Laguna Seca, and Detroit, before a 6-hour race around Watkins Glen. 3 more shorter races will follow around the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, Road America, and Virginia International Raceway, before finishing the season with 2 longer races, with the 6 hours of the Brickyard and the 10 hours of Road Atlanta. Road Atlanta is the perfect way to end the season. It's a demanding circuit at the best of times, let alone when night falls and there's a championship on the line. So I suppose the best way to summarize IMSA to non-IMSA fans would be to say it's like putting F1, F2, and F3 on the same track at the same time for an extended period of time, so that each classes can fight together to win their own independent championships. It's like that, but it's not like that at all. It's way cooler. The involvement of so many manufacturers is awesome, and it's genuinely something that we don't get to see very often, but something very few racing categories can boast. I hope this video was informative for those of you who want to get into IMSA in 2024, or those of you who just enjoy watching IMSA content, because, I mean, why wouldn't you? If you enjoyed this video, make sure you're subscribed to the channel down below for more IMSA and IndyCar content. I will see you all in the next one, but until then, take care, and thank you very much for watching.